New health advisories may change the way Wisconsin measures PFAS contamination. News 8 Now's Dua Israr spoke with environmental experts who call the new data both exciting and concerning.
In the past, the Environmental Protection Agency has said exposure to PFAS chemicals should be limited to 70 parts per trillion. On Wednesday, the EPA lowered its recommended levels for some of the PFAS chemicals to less than 1 part per trillion. PFAS, often referred to as forever chemicals, have contaminated groundwater and municipalities.
We have identified PFAS in more than 2,800 places.
The forever chemicals have been linked to various health issues, including thyroid disease and cancer.
We need to take a stronger look at this. The science is clear.
Water systems are not required to get tested consistently for PFAS.
There's no ongoing requirement because PFAS are not what are called regulated contaminants under the Safe Drinking Water Act.
In February, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources chose not to have a PFAS standard for groundwater.
We were stunned. We just couldn't wrap our heads around why.
The Wisconsin Department of Health recommended an advisory of 20 parts per trillion. The DNR failed to pass the recommended advisory and set the standard to 70 parts per trillion for municipalities.
We don't trust the state of Wisconsin numbers. We're going to go with the EPA.
On Wednesday, the EPA lowered its advisory for acceptable levels for some PFAS chemicals.
For PFOA, it is 0.004 parts per trillion or 4 parts per quadrillion. And for PFAS, it's 0.02 parts per trillion or 20 parts per quadrillion.
Following the new advisory, Town of Campbell Health Advisor Lee Donahue hopes the state of Wisconsin will reconsider its standards.
I feel that the new EPA standard forces the state to go back and to re-look at those standards.
The Environmental Working Group says standards should also be set for companies who use PFAS in their products.
Polluters who are upstream from drinking water facilities and from sources of drinking water shouldn't get a free pass.
The EPA says $1 billion in grants will be available through President Joe Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law to help communities affected by PFAS.
We intend to apply for those specialized funds from the bill.
In the meantime, communities say they believe there's progress in the fight against PFAS. Over 500 wells were tested on French Island. 97% of those wells came back positive for levels of PFAS. The DNR is providing people in that community with free bottled water.
All right, thank you, Dua.